No, I don't think so necessarily, because from a philosophical standpoint, I feel very strongly about this. I'm a professional man myself. I think of engineers who are professional people, all accountants, certified public accountants, people like this. I don't know of any of them which enjoy or who enjoy tenure or job security in this way. So some people have wholly missed the point that we make on teacher tenure. I noticed a quote in the paper this morning that to the effect that someone had said, well, to do this when our salaries are so low would be demoralizing and would cause this and that. It's in this context that we've suggested change and innovation and being willing to go out and approach some new ideas toward the educational system.
I believe the law of the land is that school systems ought not to manipulate the system in any way to try to encourage the separation of the races in schools. I would say that we believe in the letter of the law, and we would feel it ought to be upheld everywhere. However, we think that as we try to work directly with people in communities who are very much faced with the problem of the lack of quality schools, that the people themselves ought to be the ones who deal with this problem, and we work with them to work with it to handle the problem the way they think best. We think the time has come for us not just to think about an equal sharing of the funds that are available in the field of education, because the Negro citizens, by and large, and particularly in the South, and I'm sure this will be true in Alabama, have been receiving a very limited, unequal type of education. And we think simply to divide the dollars for education on an equal basis is not quite fair. If a Negro child that finishes high school with a 10th grade education, black, and a white child finishes 12th grade with a 12th grade education, it seems to us that something is wrong with this. What we ought to do, it seems to us, is to take the limited amount of money we have for education and put it where it's needed the most. So we call this compensatory educational opportunity. We ought to take the limited resources we have to help the black man to catch up. Once he catches up, perhaps then we could think about the equal sharing.
Well, you're not necessarily at this time feeling that the closing of certain Negro schools and the busing of the Negroes to white schools, or predominantly Negro and predominantly white schools, is the best thing at this time.
Increasingly, we're beginning to believe this is not a major factor. We think the important thing is quality education. Now, I mentioned earlier, however, that segregated schools are against the law, and we are for upholding the law. But we think that a quality education is important wherever people are. If all black people live in a certain neighborhood and there's a school nearby, busing the children from one side of town is a matter for the local community to determine. We think the important thing right now is to be sure that all students have a quality education regardless of where they live.
I really don't know how to answer this, Randy. This, of course, by its very nature, is a very sensitive subject. And I was out of town yesterday. We haven't had an opportunity to discuss it fully. I don't believe I'd want to comment further on it at this time. Philosophically, I haven't changed my opinion on tenure at all. I have not read the report. In fact, it has not been prepared, as I understand it. So I want to see it and see the reasoning of the ad hoc committee. Well, the only context in which we've ever suggested doing away with tenure was based on the anticipation of a substantial pay raise in teachers' salaries, which would reflect truly the professional status of a teacher in Alabama.
Well, the local urban leagues traditionally are financed by local community chests, a united fund. And it hadn't always been easy for us in the southern states to organize new urban leagues because of this funding source. But the National Urban League and the citizens of Birmingham felt it was so important to have a league in Alabama, and particularly in Birmingham. We were able to get some funds from Birmingham and from outside of that city to start a league here about 18 months ago, and it has been working along very satisfactory since that time.
Do you think you will be successful in setting up urban leagues in other communities in Alabama?
We've been very encouraged by the requests we've gotten from citizens all over the state. We have organizing committees in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and Mobile, Alabama, and in Montgomery.